Now, two teenagers have come together and pooled their limited funds to set up a company that makes and distributes its own pads. Now, Cholo and Goitseone Maboe have set up Mosetsana Feminine, which manufactures and sells sanitary pads at two locals at a very affordable price. The duo, who are currently first-year students at the University of Johannesburg and at Boston College, respectively, join us one on Zoom, one in studio. I've got Neo in studio with me to tell us a little bit more about this. So nice to have both of you with us here on the program.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thanks, Neo. And great to have you as well. Sorry you couldn't be with us, but Goitseone, good to have you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear.
It's a pleasure. All right, now let me begin with you. So, I mean, you know, going about creating a feminine brand, and you're a young man. Talk to me about your partnership and how the idea all came about.
Goitseone introduced to me from her own experience as a female that sanitary pads are expensive, and I said, if you see a problem, then let's come up with a solution, because you're a girl child, and it seems if you are having a problem, it means that so many girls are also having a problem. So we started on working on funds and packaging. Then I said, we're going to outsource manufacturing because of we need to bring something that is affordable. And that's when we started working on our sanitary pads and got to introduce it to public on 1st June 2022.
Fantastic. Well, well done to you guys for actually getting the product out there and helping the community. So let's hear a little bit more about Goitseone, your story, because obviously you introduced Neo to it. I mean, you explained to him the problems that many young girls in the country go through every single month. But tell us your story and why you thought this was important.
I have stated.
We're going to fix the line to Goitseone. It sounds like the signal is really breaking up there. So I'm going to let our producers try and sort that out, and then we'll bring her back into the conversation once we know we've got her in. But let me talk about funding with you, and then we'll get to Goitseone again. But in terms of funding, I mean, you are students, first-year university students. How did you go about starting the company and funding this?
I already have had some funds from my work, because I'm a internationally recognized award-winning author, entrepreneur, and so forth. So I have done everything in terms of raising funds, and raising funds was a problem for us, and it's still a problem also currently so. So Goitseone came with funds from her own parents and also from brothers. Then I came from funds from my own duties that I've been doing. Then we get to combine our funds and get to do one thing, which we started working on packaging and also our manufacturing of sanitary pads.
May I ask you, for people that are wondering, like I am wondering, how much does it take to do something like this, to start something as an initial fund to sort of get this business going?
We started with only 7,000 because of all our things had been done locally. So it's all about doing things locally instead of going out to other countries. Because when we check, we compared prices from our own country and prices from other countries. It became expensive for us to say we are going internationally. So sticking to local businesses providing us with services, we were able to save money and start our sanitary pads with only 7,000.
Isn't that amazing? And I mean, I think that just by you putting a price to it sort of makes a lot of people think, really, 7,000? It's not a little bit of money, but that's not what people think. People think in order to start your own business, and let's not kid, as much as you're helping people, this is also a business. I mean, you are hoping to make money out of this and also get it bigger and better, and in turn, you actually get yourself a good life and create a sustainable business, but you're helping people. So 7,000 Rand kickstarts a business. And how much do you sell something like this for?
We sell our sanitary pads with only 14 Rand.
Okay.
So we also have the bulk, which is our bulks are going with 48 with 680, and we also have another bulk of 24 with 340. So we do accommodate each and every person who wants bulk or who wants single.
And I mean, these obviously are not the only ones in the market, because there are many out there. I mean, there are a lot of people who've come up with the same idea that are also wanting to help and do this, which is a very clever idea, because sanitary towels are exceptionally expensive. But what makes yours different? Why yours?
Why ours?
Yeah.
We have made ourselves involved in community, not just being a business that comes to benefit to people, but we have become beneficial to people. So our brand is more than like you can relate to it. It gives you a story of how young people are doing everything, and not just doing everything, but it becomes a unique brand because of it is actively involved. We are providing services to non-profit organizations that provide that are focusing on period poverty. So we're not being an expense, but we're being beneficial to communities.
Excellent. I think we may have Goitseone is back with us, but I think we've got her on a phone line instead. So, Goitseone, I am so glad. I'd hate to have this conversation without you there. Are you good? Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Definitely.
Much better. That is much better. Now we can hear you. So the question I was asking you was how it came about. I know that you approached Neo. You guys decided that you would start this together, but pretty much so your idea through your experience. Talk to us about it.
My inspiration was more from a personal experience because when I grew up, I realized that menstrual education is not a priority in the country. And then we've got what we call period poverty, yet I think it is ignored. I started with my menstrual cycle roughly when I was around 8 years, but by that age, I knew nothing about it. So I think for a year or so, I knew nothing about using sanitary pads. And then I think that was the inspiration that when I grew up, I want to have a brand that will teach girls about such at a very young age. But at the same time, I don't want to do it alone. I want to do it with a boy, a male rather, that will help me in making people realize that menstrual cycle is not only about females. Boys should be involved in it too. That is why I came about to involve Neo in it.
I love the fact that you're involved now. You know, it's. I suppose the easier route is to go with another girl and to just bring in a friend, a girlfriend, and say, "Come, let's do this together." But actually, bringing a boy in is a way of, in a way, changing the narrative around this, which I think is fantastic. So, tell me a little bit more. I mean, obviously, partnering with Neo, changing the narrative in terms of the youth, because you know we look at the youth and we wonder, like, what are they doing, and perhaps you kind of think to yourself, well, the youth are looking to us for solutions, but you are making solutions yourselves. Talk to me about what you think this sort of does for setting an example for others.
I think what me and Noah usually have conversations into what young people that are actively involved in development of our communities can do to sort out challenges. So this was just a push to involve Neo. This was just a push to involve Neo.
Great. I mean, and I think he's a good business partner. He certainly is. He's holding the fort down well here and really selling the product to us. So, I mean, do you go back to your school where obviously you grew up? Where did you grow up, by the way, Goitseone? And do you go back to the school and provide and advertise there and provide these sanitary towels to young girls there in your area?
I grew up in Brett in Northwest Province. I was in Tenoro Primary School just before I relocated to Pretoria. But because we've recently founded the brand, I've never had a chance to really go back to give back to my community, but of which is part of something that I've been yearning to do. So it should be happening very soon, not only where I come from, but in every other school in different communities.
That's amazing, and you must do it. I mean, obviously, we know that it takes money to get back there, and I suppose all of the money now, Goitseone, is being pushed back into the business to make it grow more. Is that how you're running it? Because Neo was telling us that it was your family, your father, and your brother. I'm not too sure who it was that helped with funding to get this going.
Yes, definitely. Mostly it was my brother, and I would love to thank him. He believed in me. That I'm like, it's very encouraging, and it is what I wanted to do, to get males to be part of such initiatives. So I'm very grateful to my brother that as a male, he chose to believe in this project.
Look at that, hey, Goitseone? She's changing it, Neo. She's changing this big time for us, bringing in her brother and bringing in you. Mosetsana is obviously, it means girl in Setswana.
Yes.
How do people find out more about this? I mean, I imagine you're on Facebook. I imagine there's lots of
On
social media. Talk to
Instagram.
us about it.
So we have a page on Instagram, we have a page on Twitter, we have a page on Facebook, so everyone can follow us on using Mosetsana pads.
Wonderful.
Which we have done.
Well done. Well, I'm
Thank
so
you so
glad
much.
we could show your product off and show what the youth are doing and how fantastic this idea is. For just 7,000 Rand, you're changing hopefully your life and a lot of other people's lives around the country and especially in your communities. No, thank you. Thanks
so
for
much.
joining us, and it's been a pleasure, and I'm glad we got to speak to you as well. Goitseone Maboe, who is, of course, they are the partners that created the Mosetsana pads, and they've been working to set up the Mosetsana Feminine, which manufactures and sells sanitary pads to locals at a very affordable price.